Welcome to Measuring Reading. We're going to look at the way reading is currently measured and also some ways that perhaps it might be better to measure reading. The way that reading is currently measured in schools in the United States, especially after third grade, is through the use of silent reading comprehension tests. Geraldine Rogers wrote a whole book about why this is contributing to the problems. The title of her book is In the Trial of Silent Reading Comprehension Test, Charged with the Destruction of America's Schools. Rogers states on page 1, Binet's reading comprehension passages are still used to test intelligence, so reading comprehension scores are really IQ scores. Indeed, some of the most common IQ tests today still use comprehension passages. Rogers also says, comprehension tests really test IQ plus attention. Also, obviously, the test taker must already know any necessary background information used in the section. As the summary of the article, Interpreting Reading Comprehension Test Results states, a growing number of studies have emerged showing reading comprehension tests vary in the underlying skills they assess. In other words, different reading comprehension tests measure different skills. Also, with some of these tests, people are able to guess the correct answer just from background knowledge without even reading the passage. Different types of reading comprehension tests also measure various underlying skills. Reading comprehension, as summarized in the article, is a complex construct. I've had several students who were thought to have reading comprehension problems who actually had a subtle phonics problem, which is only caught by tests that are currently not in widespread use, especially after third grade. We'll look at some of these tests and how they can help you figure out what the true problem is with students. The National Right to Read Foundation has an oral reading test that's similar to the Gray Oral Reading Test. It uses reading passages, but tests them not for comprehension, but word accuracy. The passages increase in difficulty and grade level. They're a good way to measure reading ability, but they're in grade level increments and take a while to administer. One way to truly assess how well a student is reading at the word level is to assess them with a list of words that goes up to a high level. I use a quick screen reading grade level test that's just a list of words going up all the way to the 12th grade level. Nonsense tests are a very powerful way to assess how well a student is truly sounding out words. Most of my students who have problems do poorly on a reading of nonsense word tests, either missing some or not reading it at an appropriate word per minute rate. My test is just a boring list of words, but the UK uses a test that has some fun monsters, suitable for up to grade 3. One of the most useful tests I use is called the MWIA. It's so powerful, Don Potter calls it the poor man's Fmri. In a short amount of time, you can find out a lot of things about how your student is reading. It compares the speed and accuracy of how well a student reads mainly sight words, which is called holistic words, and a list of regular phonetic words that are, however, lower frequency and more uncommonly seen than the most commonly taught sight words. Later, we're going to look at some of the data that Charles Richardson gave about his students from the MWIA. And he says, it gives unique insight into a student's reading strategy, which cannot be learned via the usual word and non-word lists. This test can even provide useful information for students who are reading and achieving at high levels. For example, he gave this test to some students in Long Island High School, and if you look at their corresponding math scores, they were very high achieving. And he compared their errors, and he found a strong correlation between the number of errors. In fact, it was negative 0.61, with higher error counts relating to lower SAT scores. The MWIA he gave these students was an MWIA version 2, which includes still fairly simple words, but there's 220 words on each list. To his remedial students, he gives an easier version with only 50 words on each list. And here are these words, a level 1 MWIA. I've made a shorter version of his version 2 that just uses a third of the words from each test in 3 versions. So these are your holistic words, mostly sight words, and also some from green eggs and ham. So these words, you have the student read them and you time their speed and accuracy. And then they're compared to these perfectly phonetic words that are, however, less frequent. Students who are at or above grade level almost always read both of these lists at the exact same speed, and after 3rd grade, do not miss a single word on either list. Students who have a problem reading generally read the lower frequency words at a slower rate and also miss more of them. Here we look at some of Charles Richardson's data, and we see that for all the students he tested, most of them read the low frequency phonetic words at a slightly slower rate. And again, when we look at all the students he tested, they made a few more errors on the low frequency phonetic words than on the high frequency holistic or sight words. Now, we'll look at some differences between types of populations. African American and Hispanic students missed more low frequency words than did the white students that were tested, almost twice as many. And interestingly, while both Hispanic and African American students had even a worse slowdown than the average for the white students, the African American slowdown was the most pronounced. And I found that with my students as well. And this led to this Charlie Richardson quote and thought. The reasons are not yet well understood. MWIA data suggests that phonics first teaching is more crucial for African American children than for other ethnic groups. And I've found that as well with my students, and that when they're given the phonics, they soar and close the gap. You can see my closing the gap video for more about that. This graph from Richardson shows the correlation between MWIA phonetic word errors and reading comprehension. These phonetic words are simple words that students of this age should be able to read fluently and accurately. There is a very strong correlation. You may or may not be able to see it here, but it's of R of 0.64. Now we'll look at a 5th grade student from an inner city school as a case study. His teachers thought he was decoding well and thought his reading skills were at grade level. When I tested him with the NRRF reading grade level test, he was found to be reading at the 4th grade level. He also had a slowdown on the MWIA of 10%. He read 219 of 220 holistic words correctly, but only 214 of 220 phonetic words correctly, or 97% accuracy for phonetic word reading. I found that for many students, just as shown in the graph by Richardson, a small difference in reading accuracy can make for a big difference in reading comprehension. After this student completed my syllable spell success course, he improved from the 4th grade to the 8th grade reading level. His MWIA scores also improved. He was now reading with 100% accuracy on holistic words and 99% accuracy on the phonetic words. This increase in phonetic word accuracy from 97 to 99% made a huge difference in his reading ability and confidence. His supposed comprehension problems went away when his word-level reading accuracy improved. Don Potter talks about Richardson's article and states, "One of the most important observations that Charlie Richardson made was, comprehension is negatively affected by decoding errors." Don has also found the same problems with his students. Supposed comprehension errors are actually decoding errors, and when he remediates them with intensive phonics, their supposed comprehension problems go away. Don states, "Even though it may sound counterintuitive to today's teachers, removing students from their whole word guessing environment and teaching intensive phonics until they break the guessing habits is the shortest route to improving comprehension." Like Don Potter, I've found that my students improve when they're taught intensive phonics. They reach even higher levels of success when they're explicitly taught with syllabic phonics at the multisyllable word level. Multisyllable word level reading is not often explicitly taught or assessed, and word level reading skills are not commonly assessed after 3rd grade. Teaching and testing word level reading should continue until students are reading at the 12th grade level. Reading skills used to commonly be taught to this level in the 1800s and early 1900s through the use of spellers and readers. Webster's speller was originally used to teach both phonics and spelling. Noah Webster himself explained this in his 1828 American Dictionary of the English Language. His entry for spelling book reads, Noun, a book for teaching children to spell and read. His speller includes words of up to 7 syllables, teaching syllabic phonics and then words divided into easy-to-read syllables. The arrangement of words by schwa accent pattern is especially helpful for students whose native language is not English. The syllable arrangement has also helped my students with dyslexia tackle the challenge of multisyllable words. My free 10-lesson syllable spell success course is easy to use and teaches with multisyllable words with syllabic phonics. Includes excerpts from Webster's speller, incorporates word roots, and teaches phonics of words of Greek and Latin origin. It also includes spelling instruction and word root study. The McGuffey readers use a unique diacritical marking system based on lay print. Once these markings are learned, students can read through the series on their own, using the markings to improve their reading of multisyllable words. The 1879 readers with blue and orange covers use this marking system. Previous versions do not. I encourage my students to use these books to build up their vocabulary and reading skills. These readers have difficult words defined alongside the reading passages. Moreover, the reading passages are from a variety of genres and authors, which provides a broad base of content knowledge. Later readers also include comprehension questions. The reading passages gradually increase in difficulty within each book and throughout the series. There are also several modern programs that focus on multisyllable words. Mega Words series incorporates spelling and a bit of vocabulary. Marcia Henry's book Words integrates word study, spelling, and vocabulary. It also includes a CD, so you can easily teach to a whole class using just one book. I believe it's critically important that we teach and test phonetic word-level reading in the upper grades and keep teaching these important skills until every student is reading accurately and fluently. While some students naturally pick up multiple syllable reading skills, others do not and need systematic, explicit instruction at the multiple syllable word reading level. This instruction can be paired with instruction at the monosyllable level for students who also need to improve their accuracy when reading single-syllable words. With the help of the instruction in my syllables class, I've had inner-city students and former homeless city students reading 12th grade level words, students as young as 2nd grade. In fact, my fastest learners were 2 minority 2nd grade students who had formerly been homeless. After only 6 sessions, they were reading passages at the 12th grade level from Webster's speller with ease. Thanks for watching. If you teach the syllable series to students who need help, you'll be amazed at the difference you can make.